There we go.
That's amazing. All right. So hi everybody, welcome. Yeah, I'm Bryan Finster. I've been a software engineer for 26, 27 something years. Most of the time doing supply chain. So, I home for me is looking at a warehouse. But last several years, I've been focusing on how do we deliver software better. I was the position I held before my current job at Defense Unicorns was I was leading the DevOps dojo at Walmart. We're helping teams with continuous delivery. And we were part of the platform organization at Walmart, and also helping inform the direction of the platform. So I want to talk to you a little bit about some of the takeaways I had from that experience. Still doing platform engineering today, learning new things about new problems people have in the government. And I think this is, if you really want to elevate your organization, you really need to focus on how do we implement platform as a product and not just a set of tools. So first, I always like to start with, what do I mean by DevOps? Because DevOps, continuous delivery, all of these things are intertwined. I've seen some posts team that really spoke to me, because this is what we actually have to do if we're going to deliver value daily. And so platform is that product bit. So if someone says DevOps is dead because platform engineering, they don't understand platform engineering or DevOps. So what is our goal? Our goal is the continuous delivery of value to our end users. I mean, that's what we're all trying to do. And the goal of the platform is to be a product to enable that to get done. I feel very passionately that if you're a platform engineer, that's the best possible job any developer could have, because you're so close to your customer, other developers. So what's it take to create, a successful platform? Well, you want a centralized platform, and there's good reasons for that. We're going to go through it. You want to be customer focused and not just, hey, we're building cool tools. And you're really focusing on methods and not mandates. We're enabling people, we're not telling people what to do. So let's talk about the centralized platform thing, okay? What you're looking for is a consolidated set of tools, but you're not also owning the configuration, right? You want the people to own their configuration. We provide the tool to make that easy. Where a lot of organizations start is this just an explosion of ad hoc tools. And this is what we saw at Walmart, and I've seen this at lots of other organizations, is that people need to deliver, and so they just get something to deliver. You'll have like dozens, or however big your organization is, a whole bunch of people standing up Jenkins or Harness or all of these tools, right? And everybody owns something. And what you wind up with is every team solving the same problem. Which is, okay, cool, you've got ownership, but it also means that we don't have a solid way to make sure that we're being secure and compliant. We can't get some of the organizational non-negotiables baked into all of those different platforms or all those different tools, because everybody's too busy to get that done. It means that all of those product teams are burning energy trying to keep their ability to deliver in place instead of focusing on what it is they're trying to deliver. And so we need to fix that. I mean, if you're in this situation, we need to fix it. If you're not in this situation, don't go there. If you've seen the book Team Topologies, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about having a platform team to change this so the platform team supports all of the product teams and their goals. And I had a question that was asked. I gave a presentation about this to a company in Quebec earlier this spring. And the question was asked, how big do you have to be before you have to start talking about building a platform team to support the product teams? Well, the very first implementation we had a continuous delivery, we had 4 pilot product teams and a platform team. And the platform team was consisted of like 3 people. Their focus was templating some of the common patterns we needed to deliver the 2 or 3 different stacks we're delivering with across those 4 teams, so that all we had to do was modify the configuration for our particular product, but the baseline stuff was all taken care of, and they were just doing everything they could to make it easy for us, so we didn't have to futz around with Jenkins. So my contention is that as soon as you have more than 2 teams doing something, you probably need a platform team as small to make it easy to standardize some of the things that need to be standardized for your organizational norms. Which means that we can have standardized guardrails, right? This is where instead of having, security running around playing whack-a-mole or doing these ineffective security theater security reviews after everything is delivered, we can have a centralized platform that we can bake security, bake compliance in as tools in the platform, and so that they're provided as a service instead of having people feeling like they've got these police coming in to come and tell them how they were bad in the past. You've got this single truth, this one thing that says, okay, we are validating with the platform that you're secure and compliant. Now you need to focus on quality, and that's your job. You don't have to worry about these things. They're just, we will not allow you to be insecure and non-compliant. You're welcome. The other thing the platform should really be focusing on is making the right things easy. Now, there was several ways that we were doing this. Pardon me, my phone is dinging because reasons. I forgot to hit do not disturb, so we're going to put that on do not disturb. Cool. At the Walmart platform, we were really focusing on using continuous delivery as a method for not only improving our ability to deliver, but elevating engineering excellence across the organization. And so we built the platform to make continuous delivery, that workflow, the easiest possible way you could deliver. And so you could go and use Git flow if you wanted to, but it was going to cause you toil. You could do all sorts of long-term, like weird ways to deliver things that didn't align with CD good practice, but it was going to cause you pain. You could still do it, but the easiest possible way was to do CD. We also created just a common experience for every single way to deliver anywhere we could, so that teams could help each other with, if they had any sort of questions, they wouldn't all have to come to us. They could talk to each other and solve those problems together. And because we had that common experience that meant that you could deliver the same way to the cloud or to the edge or wherever, it meant that onboarding was super easy. The onboarding was also easier because we were abstracting away a lot of the complexity. We were creating a declarative platform that would tell the platform what you wanted to do, but didn't have to get into the details of how you needed to do it, unless you were doing something outside the scope of what was commonly supported across the organization. So you could still run some experiments where you had to get into more detail, but for the stuff that was normal, it was super easy to do with the platform. In fact, the last implementation of the platform I got to use before I left, if you wanted to deploy a Kubernetes, a container to the Kubernetes cluster, it took like 40, 50 lines of YAML. Most of that was just telling it where to send alerts to which Slack channel and what environment variables you need to set for which lower level environment and which production and for production. But you didn't even have to know that Kubernetes existed, and you didn't even have to know how to build a Docker container, because you just give us the code and we do all that for you. You could if you wanted to, but we would build better Docker containers, and the platform just handled it for you. And I talked about making the unwanted patterns harder. You don't necessarily want to make them impossible, because then you can't migrate people to the platform. But if it hurts to do the work, people are going to want to know how to make their work better. And so if you have organizational goals and you can make the right things easy and make the hard things harder, then it helps people start molding to doing the right things. Of course, you also want to balance this with the people using the platform can't just be victims. You're not trying to throw tools at them and say, just take care of it, right? There's things that we have to do to make sure that we are helping them succeed. You know, first, our platform needs to be easier to use than what they're using. When we built the Walmart platform, we had our initiative was called the Irresistible Developer Experience. We knew that eventually everybody would have to be using our platform, but we also knew that was years in the future. We wanted people on the platform. We needed to expand the number of use cases we could cover. And so our focus was, how can we make this easier and better than what you're using today, so that you'll want to come join the platform and want to move off your old thing. The other thing is that, really focusing on the product ownership thing, right? Doing outreach, going and talking to the people using your platform and finding out what struggles they have that we're not meeting. We would do lunch and learns. We would do sponsored DevOps days. We do everything we could to bring the community together, share good lessons, and get people more familiar with the platform. We supported a lot of the communities of practice materially, with things like swag. Say, hey, you've got a community. We want to help support that community. We're going to take some of our budget and materially support your community so that you can help grow that community and grow the knowledge share and help advertise our platform. It needs to be extensible. Anti-pattern I see a lot is where a company will spend up because, well, let's just first, DevOps should not be a job or a role. It's just how we work. A lot of companies are creating DevOps teams. And one of the many different ways they define DevOps team is the people who control pipeline configuration. And that's a massive anti-pattern. We can't control how the pipelines are configured. To make the right things easy, we really want to focus on, there's a core flow that is common for everybody. You're going to get security scans. You're going to make sure that you're compliant. There's things that are common for everything that we can't allow you to skip just because it's bad for the enterprise. But we can't predict every single delivery problem you have. We shouldn't be defining what your quality gates are. That's up to you. You own your quality. We should make it possible for development teams to configure the quality gates the way they need to in the context of their application. We're trying to keep teams safe, put safety nets around delivery, but not act as police to force people to do what we want them to do. And so there's that balance there, balancing the enterprise goals with also supporting our customers, which are the product teams. You need good documentation. This is something we took a lot of pride in. And it's something that a lot of people don't do well. I mean, they either skip documentation or they'll just write some documentation and say, yeah, it's in the docs. We would use our documentation to answer questions. Somebody would ask us a question, and if we didn't have it in the documentation, we'd answer the question and then put it on the backlog and then document it. If we did have it in the documentation, we would take them to where it was in the documentation and say, hey, it's right here in the documentation. If the question you asked, starting off with, the question you're asking is covered in our training. Have you taken our online training? Please take the training. We did our part by creating it. Please do your part by taking it. And then it would be, okay, well, it's right here in the documentation. If this doesn't answer your question, please let us know and we will help you, and then we'll improve our documentation. So we would continuously test our documentation by using it to answer questions. Also, self-service tools.
That's a cool pattern.
Yes, I mean, how else can you test documentation other than using it, you know?
It also makes sure evaluation on when I go to dereference it, is it there? Nice.
Yeah. We started doing that in the dojo too. I mean, when we would work with teams, we found that there was these common patterns for teams were struggling with continuous delivery. And so we started documenting good, things that we knew worked to help solve these problems. They weren't like vague suggestions. They were like, hey, try this, 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 and this. And if that doesn't work, come talk to us. We open sourced all those, by the way. You can find them on the dojoconsortium.org website. Self-service tools. If I have to open a ticket to modify how I'm delivering, we have failed as a platform. There's a platform my wife's aware of that if you want to change pipeline configuration, you must open a ticket and wait for the DevOps team to go and do it. She calls that platform as a service ticket. It's just insane, right? Because if I have to open a ticket to go and add a quality gate, I won't. But if I can just go add a quality gate, we'll find some issue in production that I can add a quality gate to prevent that issue going forward. And I'll just do that. I'll just harden my pipeline. And as a product team, my job is to make sure my pipeline is hardened so that I can not break production as much as possible. As a platform team, my job is to make that easy for those product teams. And you really need a disciplined support process. You need to treat this as a product where you treat your customers with respect. If somebody has a question, don't just say, go open a ticket and we'll get to you. Try to answer the question. We had a process where if we could answer the question, we'd point you to the documentation. If that didn't answer it, we'd try to take care of it immediately through Slack. If it took more than 15, 20 minutes of that conversation, we'd say, okay, we're opening a ticket to track this. Based on the severity or the duration we projected that would be, we would be like, okay, we're going to track this in a ticket. We're going to take care of it right now. Or, hey, we need to get back to you because we have other things going on and your issue is not that severe, but we will immediately get back to you. And having that discipline process meant that we could have a global tier 1 support team supporting 18,000 developers with a team of 8. If it got beyond what tier 1 could take care of, then we're talking about an issue with one of the tools, and the product team for that tool would then be brought in for L2 support. And this is important because if you have to linearly scale the platform to scale the number of people using the platform, you're going to crush the platform under process overhead, and you'll spend yourself out of existence. This is something that was talked about at PlatformCon this past summer, where platforms, they either work in ways that are too inefficient, or they decide that we're just going to build tools to take care of everything instead of what's actually needed. And then just the amount of spend on platform crushes them under their own weight. So you have to be lean, because your best outcome for a platform organization is that you're cost neutral. You're not going to make money because you're an enterprise service, right? And so you need to find ways to run as lean as possible. At Walmart platform, we had a total of 80 people when I left, supporting multiple products. And this was delivery platform. This wasn't like all of infrastructure. This was just focused on the continuous delivery platform. But it was multiple products in that platform. And with support, documentation and training team, the dojo, everything, it was 80 people supporting nearly 19,000 developers globally, 24/7. We ran very lean. Our job is to elevate other developers. Their job, product team's job, is to focus on business problems, not on how to deliver. We are supposed to make that easy. We're supposed to remove toil from their lives. And I take this very seriously. I honestly get offended when there's people in platform who don't take this seriously and just treat developers like an annoyance. You have the best job in the world. You're right next to your customer. It's a persona you should know because it's you. Why would you not have empathy for those people and do everything you could to make their lives easier? How do we reduce the complexity of the work every single day? How do we always look for ways to make their lives better? We shouldn't be running off trying to build nifty tools they may or may not use. We should be talking to them and finding what problems they have and trying to make those problems less intense. And really, like any other product, right? We're not going to tell an end user, here's a thing that you have to use, because they're not going to, right? We're going to say, hey, what problems do you have? How can we help you solve your problem? That's what every product should be doing. And platform needs to operate the same way to be effective. And, this, again, we need to provide methods for how to get things done and not just tell people to do things, right? You can't just throw tools at people and expect to get good outcomes. You have to help people with the information on how to get those outcomes. I mean, this is why we started a dojo at Walmart, is because people didn't know how to do continuous delivery. We gave them a platform that did CD really, really well, but they didn't know how to do CD, because CD is not the tools. CD is how we use the tools to continuously deliver value. It's how we work. And so helping them with those things is something that I also think that if you're going to be an effective platform, you need to do that developer advocacy and show people how to use the tool correctly. Because new tools need new habits, right? Before we had a change advisory board. Those shouldn't exist. What we should have is pipelines that are certified to verify that every single commit is compliant. No cab can do this. Only a pipeline can do this. And if you have a policy or a requirement that can't be codified in the pipeline, it's complete fantasy. It doesn't exist. I wish you luck. Before we deliver completed products, now how do we deliver small, low-risk changes? This takes a completely different mindset. And if we're trying to deliver a platform to enable this, we should deliver the knowledge on how to get this done. We should do the work of documenting, hey, here's good ways to do these things. Before, audit security and compliance and hope that you're not, the next, oh crap, which credit bureau was it that's super famous? Hope you're not them. Now we have a platform, right? The platform should be checking these things every single commit. It should be very difficult to push code that's non-secure and non-compliant. Or, and this is something we talked about at DevOps Enterprise Summit today. There are times when it's more important to fix production than it is to fix the security issue that popped up in between your last commit and this commit that you need to do to fix production. But the platform should allow for that in a way where it's a temporary, yes, we're bypassing this thing, but you're not going to be able to go again until you fix it. Before, change freeze, which is unfortunately a thing that I've lived with for most of my career in retail. You have a problem that happens, well, you're gonna have change freeze and we're gonna put you under heightened scrutiny. Well, today what we need is blameless postmortems. Take the outcome from that to find out, what do we need to harden in the pipelines? What do we need to add to the platform to make it easier to do the good things and harder to do things that cause things to break? We recently had a book club at Defense Unicorns. We're reading The Design of Everyday Things. Anybody who do what?
Fabulous book.
Fabulous book.
The psychology of everyday things.
Yeah.
Yes, that's it.
I had the audio book, and about halfway through it, I went and got the electronic copy so I could start highlighting it, because it directly impacted things around platform engineering. Just the idea of building tools in such a way so it was difficult to misuse the tool.
And that was written before most people even had a PC. So it's not about computing.
No, it's absolutely nothing about computers, but it's about designing effective products, and really thinking about that human-centered design. Human-centered design is core to this. We are pressured as developers every single day to deliver really fast. And if we can remove some of the fear from that, because that you've got a safety net that's going to try to catch mistakes as you go, because we're going to make mistakes. I accidentally pushed a secret to version control and got a note from security, hey, you pushed a secret to version control. I'm very careful about that, but I made a mistake. So what did I do? I found a tool that would check a pre-commit that I couldn't do that again, installed that, and hardened my process. And that's what should be happening. I should, I told security, hey, I've voided my secrets, and also I added this tool. And they were very happy about that and thought the tool was super cool. And hopefully they will tell everybody else about that tool. Platform guides. That goes to this developer advocacy thing, right? Again, just throwing tools at you doesn't get you there. But having people who understand how to do what we're trying to do with the platform, who will be there and not just talk at you or talk theory, but have the ability to get down with you in the weeds and work with you to show you how to get it done well. And also, having those engineers to bring challenges back to the platform and say, hey, teams, we're talking to a lot of teams and they're struggling with doing this with the platform. Or if we added this feature to the platform, it'd be better. To inform the platform roadmap. Having that two-way communication constantly at the technical level with those engineering teams is so powerful. So, we need to operate as a product. We need a mission and a vision, right? Our job is to enable other product teams to quickly, safely, and securely deliver value to their end users. They are our only reason for existing, and we need to respect them. And we need to focus on developer experience. You hear DevOps all the time, or at least hopefully you do. One of the things that I've told people frequently is DevOps to me doesn't mean pretty UI on a complicated platform. It means you've reduced the cognitive load of me delivering to production. Platform, we need to eat our own dog food. You use the platform to deliver the platform. On my team in the dojo, we built tools. We didn't just go and talk to teams. We had a physical product that we owned. We used the platform every single day. We used the platform to come up with ways to demonstrate to people how to use the platform. The platform teams delivered their tools with the platform. So we felt the same pain the users, our customers did when we were delivering. And if you're not doing that, then you're just building stuff and you're not really getting immediate feedback. You may get vocal feedback from people, but it'll just be complaints on stuff that's just so egregiously bad that they're going to yell at you. But the small irritations, you may never see those unless you're actually using the platform. And removing those small irritations make things so much better. We need to be a trusted product, not just a tools team. Something else that we did that was really powerful. We branded every single product within the platform. We branded the platform. We had t-shirts, stickers. We treated it like a good open source project where, trying to build excitement around it. We tried to present ourselves as what we were. We were really good at what we did as engineers. But if you asked us a question, we wouldn't BS you. We would come up with an answer or tell you we didn't have an answer, but we'd try to help you find one. And so we became a trusted source of information because you knew if you came to us, you'd get the straight dope. We published a roadmap. This is the problems we're working to solve in the future. And if you have comments on these, please come and give us feedback on it. But this is our current roadmap for the next quarter, and we're working on these problems. The other thing is, you can't boil the ocean. You don't want to go and build a platform that's going to solve all the problems and go install it, because it's going to be terrible. You want to start with some common small problem that you can verify some of your ideas and start growing it out, just like you would any other product. When we started ours at Walmart, we started with Java on private cloud. That was a very common solution that we had a lot of control over. If we tried to start on the edge, there would be a lot of variability there, and we'd be playing whack-a-mole with edge configuration versus what is our platform doing. And so focusing on that small problem, we're able to then learn from that, grow to more stacks, still in private cloud, then grow to more stacks, going to edge nodes, grow to more stacks, going to public cloud, until we're able to take care of almost everything in almost any environment you can deliver in. And just imagine one platform that can go to private cloud, public cloud, edge, with a common user experience. It took us like 2 years to build that, which is nothing, but it was the discipline we had. We need to have empathy for our fellow developers, right? Be the product you'd want to use. And this button here, this is a real thing. This is another engineer from another infrastructure area deploying managed Tomcat, which was used by a whole bunch of teams. It was super critical with that button using our platform. He just wired a Raspberry Pi into our API. He had a switch that he would flick, and it would report whether he had a green pipeline. And if he did, he'd hit the deploy button and it would ship.
Nice.
It was so cool. With that, this is how you can reach me. I think platform engineering is the coolest job, but only if you take it seriously. And I blog a little bit about how to deliver software better at blog@bryanfinster.com. And I wrote a paper for IT Revolutions that is a more holistic strategy, includes having a platform, but includes many other things that I think are important if you want to improve an enterprise. And you can get to that at the bit.ly at DevOps-enterprise-strategy. You have to log in to IT Revolution's website, but it's a free download. And with that, we can do some questions.
So I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stream. I'll keep the recording. We can post this on YouTube later. If you're watching on YouTube, join slack.cantcoders.org right now, because there's a Zoom link thing, and Scott will let you in. But this will allow us to have a more candid conversation. But for the Q&A, I remind you, we didn't sign your NDA. You did. You will be liable. We will fold so fast that the lawyers will come find you. Because we have no money, and we never. Yeah,
they'll take all your money.
Yeah, we'll take all your money. We run on story points, hopes, and dreams. So,
yeah, how many story points do I get for the presentation? By the way?
Okay, well, Scott is actually self-certified.
7.2 PDUs.
Yeah.
Yeah. How much value did you deliver, Finster?
Oh, I don't know. We run solely on story points here. Scott is actually indexing story points to inflation right now. So when we get back with HR, we'll get your cost of living raises up, which will be far less than inflation. I was being sarcastic. Anyways, nobody gets the joke. Brian froze.
Is Brian back?
He was stonewalling me. So what are the questions?
Talking about people having empathy for their users.
Yeah.
And I'm used to being in places where we're smart and the users are stupid.
Yeah.
I find that's still the case, even though the users are more like us.
I think that there's always a bias that we're smart and the users are stupid, because the users are causing us pain because of our shitty software, right? So our stuff breaks and they yell at us, and so they're just stupid because they're using our software wrong. I think that's something that whether you're on platform or product or a product team, that's super common that we all need to be aware of. That no, it's probably that our software is not good enough. Now, I will say that yes, there's always some users that are does, whether you're in platform or product teams, but sometimes those does aren't does. Sometimes they're like real things that you're like being oversensitive about. And you need to take a hard look. And so that's just something we all need to introspect about and try not to treat people like idiots.
I know Sharon, how do you say your name? Had his hand up for a while in the middle. Do you still have a
I'm sorry.
question there?
Yeah, Sharon actually has a question he very thoughtfully typed into the chat, Brian. And I also have one too, but we can wait. I think Sharon's is a more interesting question.
Let's see if, let's see. First, this is one of the rare meetups where the group is focusing on the customer needs, requirements, assets, rather than on the technology. And just a comment on that. Does the technology matter if we don't care about the people we're trying to help? Independent business analysts for small scale business and NGOs, the bottom of the economic pyramid, but also willing to finance. Hang on, I'm trying to. There's a lot here, and I don't read open. Let's see. When a group of potential customers comes. For small scale business and NGOs. What happened there?
Hi.
Right.
Are you hearing me? Maybe
yes.
What's better?
You might understand. Yeah, no, I cut off the video because of the connection. Yes. So the question I had, because when Brian mentioned the idea of satisfying the customer, help them succeed. The idea for small businesses and yes. NGOs is for them and building the community. The problem so the problem I'm having with the development team is, you see, they already have those like a Bluehost shared server, and when they come to the company, the developers scare them away saying, well, you need to use this or that technology. But the problem is the people are not well versed in the technology. They can simply, with the usage of APIs like many NGOs just want a blog to get to their But the problem I'm having with the development team, since I'm more on the business analysis, is that those developers tell them, well, do not use WordPress. You need to use Vue.js and stuff like that. What I'm proposing them is more or less similar to what you just told. Using we build just a product, like if I transpose it, I just engine, and then we just sell the cars, and so that there is less maintenance, because they just need a blog, a contact form. In some cases, we have e-commerce, similar e-commerce with different types of products. So that's what I wanted to know about. What's your...
Yeah, I think that a lot of developers make terrible product owners.
Because sometimes it's hard to explain to the developers. The thing is, the company loses money.
Yeah, I think that a lot of developers make terrible product owners. So let's see, I'm going to mute you because we got a big delay. Okay, yeah, so yeah, a lot of developers make terrible product owners because they focus on, hey, I like this cool tech stack instead of what problem am I trying to solve. And I really think that I would like to challenge my peers to focus on the problems that need to be solved. So for example, in your case, if they want to blog, well, so if I'm going to blog, I'm going to be, if I'm going to stand up a website for blogging and documentation, I'm going to use a Hugo site because I like Hugo and I'm comfortable with documents as code, and I'm going to do it that way. But I guarantee you that like an NGO, is going to be staffed with non-technical people that they don't want to learn how to do Markdown and Git, and they want something easy to use, right? And if we as developers can't sit down and understand the person we're trying to help and what it is they're actually trying to get done, and we focus on, well, it'd be cool if we use this thing, or I don't like WordPress, or I don't like what, Drupal or whatever. It's not about you, right? It's not about us as developers. It's about the end user, and we need to focus on solving their problem. Taking it back to platform, I've seen platform teams where the team's like, boy, it'd be super cool if we built a tool like this, and it has no utilization whatsoever because it doesn't actually solve a problem that the product teams have.
Can you put some words behind that phrase, problem to solve? Like, what problems did you solve when you were doing this in their language?
Whose language? Which ones? I'm sorry.
Your users.
Well, I mean,
they have you focused on instead of just shiny new thing.
You're talking about in the platform area?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, number one, they didn't have to go and re-implement all of the security and compliance controls. They no longer had to learn Groovy to build Jenkins pipelines, because all they had to do was do some YAML configuration. We stood up an entire organization to help them with things like, hey, what's a feature flag? So I mean, I can tell you directly that my team in the dojo, we helped a lot of teams actually get to continuous delivery. I think one of my favorite stories is a team that had 57 release branches, and in 3 weeks we got them to trunk-based development because configuration management's a thing. So there was a lot of problems we actually solved. I think again, having one way that everybody could deliver almost everything solved a lot of problems for the enterprise. And again, helped with a lot of onboarding because they didn't have to go and reinvent the wheel all over the place. Now, when coming from a product area, I like to think I solved all kinds of problems to make the lives of those people in warehouses easier so that they could pay their bills better. I always really focused on not the very first job I had. 6 months after I started my first professional programming job, I went to a distribution center where somebody was using my software and hating it. And that stuck with me deeply. Now I went back to the server room where there was a terminal and went and fixed it and came back and saw if he, asked him if he hated me less. But I think everybody should be exposed to the outcomes of their software with the end user to find out if their arrogance as a developer is warranted.